Okay, so radio production, unit 5. Okay, so you've now passed the criteria for that. But what I will say to begin with before I forget is that I've managed to pass you because obviously you submitted your radio show on my hard drive, okay? But if I look at your website, the work isn't there. Okay.
Trouble uploading to SoundCloud.
Okay, so we need to work on, just for your own portfolio, because obviously it needs to be on there. I can grade it because I have it on my hard drive,
Okay,
as I said, that's how I've managed to listen to it. But I need to make sure that it's on there as well, okay? Remember again about presentation. This random YouTube video, we don't need that there, okay? So you can get rid of.
I'm just gonna add it to YouTube, but is it okay if I add on to this? If I can't do it on SoundCloud.
You could try, yeah,
Okay.
okay? So just make sure, and then obviously we've got this massive gap
I
here.
don't know
Which
how that ended up.
we don't need that. I know you have issues with your website, but everything else has been greatly improved, okay? And as I said, this is your best looking page in terms of presentation, but you need to make sure that everything that's meant to be on there is on there, okay? Because if I didn't have that on my memory stick, I wouldn't have been able to grade your work, okay? Now, when we sat down last time and I gave you feedback on your research, we had some really good analysis of your idents, okay? I'm just trying to find my notes. Give me a second. So, good awareness of the time of the idents, but there could have been greater link to how the content linked to the target audience. But at that point, you hadn't uploaded any of your research, okay? So you now have, okay? So I can see that you've looked into codes conventions of radio scripts. You looked at existing shows, so Diverse FM, and I think you looked at Radio 1. Yep, good. And then you also did a questionnaire, okay? Now, your research, okay, has always been very detailed, okay? So you are researching different sources and you are identifying relevant information, okay? What you're not doing, though, for the high standard, is that you're showing me how that research is being used to support and develop your ideas, okay? And you're smiling because I say this all the time, okay? So when you're talking to me about, let's say, your questionnaire, okay? So you pulled out some relevant findings. How these findings would help me? These findings would be a huge amount of help in finding what features of a radio show should have to interest listeners. In this case, in the content of the music should be pop, genre specific, and so on. This is great for listeners to discover new tracks as we have their favourites, since in this day and age people change their choices of music really quickly. This is important to remember when we are planning our show. We may need to have a music list which we could decide on the day what songs we're going to use and so on. So it's getting better, but still, for me to feel comfortable in terms of high standard of research, I need to have a lot more detail in that analysis of how your ideas are being used to inform your ideas, okay? So moving forward, the research portfolios you create, you must have that detail. Does that make sense? Yeah? Moving on, your pre-production paperwork was really well put together, so well done. Your script, you and your partner produced a really good script that really suited the needs of the target audience. Your proposal, running order, music list, production schedule has all been created with care, so well done. So in terms of planning and production, you are working, okay, at a high standard because you are thinking about realistic planning towards the obviously timescales I'm giving you and obviously the overall brief, okay? And your show fully meets the needs of the brief, okay? Or your planning does anyway, okay? So well done. Moving on then to the production itself, how did you find it?
It was okay. I kind of find it difficult working in the booth because I struggle with talking a lot. So
yeah. So what do you mean you struggle with talking a lot? As in,
like I'm really shy and I got that. And
the confidence to speak out loud. Okay, so radio presenting obviously isn't your forte. Okay,
yeah.
But in post production, you took obviously the recordings that you had done in the booth and did a really good job in the edit. Okay, but as I said to your co-presenter, the weakest part of this product or the area for improvement was what happened in the booth, okay? So there is a moment in your production where you have recorded something in isolation, okay, and you're nodding. So you showed me good problem solving skills because you realised that you wasn't going to have enough script to fill the time. So you went and recorded something else in isolation, which is really good, okay? When you did that, although the acoustics were different, so I could hear that it was being recorded somewhere different, your volume levels were on point.
Were they?
So you and your presenter were both speaking at the same volume. Whereas in the booth, what happens?
The booth. And my voice was like too quiet.
Yeah. So you're really quiet and your co-presenter is really loud. So you really need to make sure going forward that you spend time doing some test recordings, because had you done that, you would have recognised, even as someone that's really shy, you would have recognised, I'm really quiet. I need to raise my volume here and maybe say to my co-presenter to bring their volume down to meet me halfway. Okay?
Yeah.
What did you think of your show?
It's okay.
It's okay? What does that mean?
What I'm gonna say is that apart from the volume levels and everything, like I managed to like crossfade the music properly.
Yep.
So that was fine. I tried to get rid of it, like make sure any fade in silence and stuff like that.
Yep.
So yeah.
I think you did a really good job of implementing the crossfades. I think what stops your work being a high standard is the volume levels, okay? Because what that shows me is that you haven't had consistent and appropriate process skills and knowledge throughout. It's in parts, and the major strength for you is the idents you created. I was so proud of you when you was using GarageBand. You've created some fantastic idents for your show, the show that returns, and also then you incorporated the Boundfield Radio ident. I think you did a fantastic job. You should be really proud of yourself. And it was nice to see that you create something in production that I actually felt you're quite proud of. So that was really good, okay? Your ident promotes the show well, and it links to the genre, so really, really good. As I said, there is issues with volume levels throughout, okay? So the introduction is one point that I've picked up on. So you're very quiet, and it's the opening of the show, and we need to be engaged from the beginning. Obviously, we don't get that impact because you are so quiet. A major strength of the product is the scripting. So throughout, we have signposting, so you let us know what's coming up. You let us know what song's being played, who's responsible for the song. So lots of engagement with the audience. You say things such as stay tuned, up next, later on we have, which is make sure that the audience members are going to keep listening. So really, really great scripting. Even when it got to the news segment, that was well researched and well scripted. Now I know you wasn't here on the day that we did the initial news segment, but you managed to catch up and you wrote a really, really good segment of news, considering you wasn't here for the theory lesson. So really well done. I think we need to think about pace. So your co-presenter speaks quite quickly, you speak very slowly. So together, it doesn't quite have a nice rapport. We also don't hear any interaction between the two of you until 17 minutes. And that's quite a long time for a radio show for us not to have any sort of interaction or rapport between the presenters. So fantastic in terms of transitions, crossfades, this is the song, and play the song, this is that song. But we need some sort of relationship, we need some sort of discussion, okay? From that point on, when we have pop or not, or guess the lyrics, it is a lot more interactive between the two of you. And you are, it's a lot more unscripted, so you're sort of discussing things, and it makes it sound like it's just a normal conversation between the two of you, which is good. Pop or Not is really good because it gets involved in social media. The results at the end of the show, which is great, it keeps the audience listening. The lyrics have been researched really in a good amount of detail. I did suggest that perhaps it'd been an idea to introduce each lyric separately rather than just a whole wad of lyrics, because I felt a little bit overwhelmed. It's too many lyrics. Yeah? So even in post-production, you could have recognised that and maybe cut it up between a song or something like that, okay, just to break it up a little bit. Great use of special effects throughout for your different segments, well done. Guess the intro is a good idea, and you've edited the music together really well, so well executed, well done in post-production. As I said, you can hear the difference between the segments recorded in isolation and not, but finally we had the correct volume levels. The weekly pop chart, there's an issue in the recording because it's introduced by your co-presenter, but then you're still talking, so we just need to make sure that was a little bit more cleaner, okay? The last 5 minutes to show you there's some real volume level issues. That's probably where you was rushing a little bit towards the end, didn't have time to tweak them. As I said, your news script is fantastically written and well prepared. You also look at local traffic, which is good because that links to your target audience. and it's exactly an hour. In terms of production skills, although we're not quite at a high standard, if I put this next to your music video,
It's not improvement.
it's a vast improvement, okay?
Okay.
So for me, the paperwork's never been an issue for you. It's just getting used to now stepping up to a different level. So
Okay.
yes, you can research. What I'm asking you to do is tell me how that research is going to help you in your planning,
Mhm.
okay?
Okay.
It's not concrete answers. It's not saying because I've said this, we're going to do this. It's now I've identified the codes conventions of X and Y.
Yeah.
This will help me when I'm preparing my script, or I need to consider this when I'm thinking about my shooting script, or whatever it might be. But you're telling me that you are aware that this is going to help you in your planning. Okay, so that's the biggest area that we need to work on. In terms of post-production, or in terms of practical skills, make sure that we're doing some test screenings. So any issues that's going to really affect us and be beyond our control in post-production are dealt with in production. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah.
Your evaluations are always really open and honest and transparent. There's a lot of detail there, so I'm not worried about those at all. Just remember what I said about using your peer feedback to inform what you're saying rather than just having it bolt to the bottom.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Are we sure?
Yeah.
Good, well done you.